G'day, cunts! Welcome to episode number 28, I think, of the GreenCast, a podcast by me, Mr. GreenText, in where I ramble to myself into my bedroom like a fucking madman. So, how you been, guys? I've been doing a couple things this week. Mostly been working on this fucking, feature film at this point. The latest cut of the thing that I'm working on, is just under an hour. And that's still missing a couple of scenes, so it's probably going to be over an hour at this point. Interesting time. Usually this goes up on 3 a.m. Sunday, my time, and it's currently 9:40. So if you heard that, I am cracking a Red Bull because I'm going to need it to get through this if I'm going to survive another fucking hour. So, one of the first things I wanted to talk about... God, why do people listen to this shit? One of the first things I wanted to talk about is that I finally downloaded and played Battlefront 2, much to everyone's fucking despair, as soon as I said that I'm playing it, or every time I was in the Discord. Because Discord has a thing that says what game you're playing, because I guess it's linked to Steam, whatever the fuck. And people kept messaging me going, "Oh, why the fuck you playing Battlefront? Fuck you, yeah, blah, blah, blah." But I'm like, fuck you. I want to play the campaign. It looks pretty good. And you know what? I enjoyed it. Mostly, which I'll fucking get to. I want to talk about first and how garbage fucking Origin is. And, I had a fucking escapade with goddamn Origin as well. I tried to log in, and I couldn't remember my fucking password, and I'm like, oh, fucking, here we go. And, I go to log in, and then I'm like, alright, whatever, forgot password. And to actually send, an email to you, you have to answer a security question. And I'm like, that's okay, I know the answer to this question. So I type in the answer, and it's like, wrong. And I'm like, oh, I guess it's cap sensitive. So I'm like, oh, I capitalize the things that need capitalizing, I think. And it still says it's wrong, and I'm like, oh. Cool, I'm fucked. And I'd linked that to Origin as well, and I already put it in. So I'm like, for fuck's sake, god damn it. And so then I had to go through fucking goddamn customer support to reset my security password, to then also reset my normal password. And I'm like, oh man, it was a whole fucking escapade. And then I launched Origin, and the main difference between Origin and Steam. So, in Steam, and also Uplay, I don't mind Uplay, which I'll also get to later. Origin, if I want to go play a game, and there's a tab that says games, specifically if I want to play a game that I own, that I fucking bought, I'll click on the games tab, because there's actually, let's boot it up right now, because I want to fucking just highlight on how much this pisses me off. Origin, alright, hopefully it opens in the next... sort of soon, so then I have to keep stalling, connecting to Origin. Fucking goddamn. I've been trying to look into hardware as well to upgrade my internet to prep myself for the NBN, because I'm getting an upgrade sometime soon, hopefully, and I won't have as garbage speeds and the inhuman levels that I have at the moment. Yeah, so it has Origin, Games, Friends, View. So when you click the Games tab, it just takes you to the store. And I'm like, what the fuck? And you go browse games, and there's no... It actually had to wait to load your own My Games library, and that option to come up. And it's for a good, minute and a half to 2 minutes, I'm like, what the fuck? I can't actually access my games. And it wasn't until, the My Games library finally booted up. And, I just fucking hate it so goddamn much. And, I downloaded it fully, and then it just wouldn't boot, and I'm like, fuck's sake, so then I had to, do the goddamn check the cache files, or whatever the fuck, verify the game files, that's what I was gonna say, of, the game, to make sure that, so, yeah, and apparently something had fucking shit the bed, and not downloaded a gigabyte worth of stuff, so I'm like, and I'd already prepped myself, I'm like, cool, I got time to play the game, sit down to play it. Can't play it for a whole nother hour, because there's a fucking update that or something that just didn't download. So I'm like, fuck, have to go do something else now, because I just have to wait, because my internet's just so garbage. 300 kilobytes a second tops, if anyone's about to ask. and I just checked before, probably about maybe 100 kilobytes upload if I'm gonna estimate as well, which is just inhuman levels at this point, and it's getting really fucking just getting on my nerves at this point. It's just fucking sad. But yeah, I played through the campaign, and you know, I was enjoying it until they did like I don't know, spoilers I guess for Battlefront 2. They do like a time jump thing. And then after that, it kind of just, like, went downhill. Like, it does, like, a month time jump. So she's been in the Rebels for a while, the main character. And then it does, like, a time jump. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it does, like, a time jump at the end. And then it's just, like, everything suddenly ramps up, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck? What's happening? Where am I? And then it just, like, ramps up and then just ends on a massive fucking cliffhanger, setting up Battlefront 3, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And it wasn't even that long of a campaign either. And there was just like weird, dumb missions that were just like fucking had no right to be as hard as they were. There's one where you have to like go to one of the bases, and then you have to run to a TIE fighter. And there's just a giant walker there that every time you try and walk around, they just fucking blast your ass. It's like a one-shot, one-kill, and I'm like, it took me actually ages, and I had to drop down the difficulty level because I just got getting fucked off, and it just wasn't fun. And, you know, I'm one of those people that, you know, I want to play games because I want to have fun. And so I don't give a fuck if I have to drop the goddamn difficulty, because it's not worth having a fucking anger session or whatever the fuck over. So what I don't get too is people and they get pissed off and they're like, "Oh, you're a fucking noob. You need to put down the, you need to make it like hard difficulty, or else you're like you're a noob, or you're not a real gamer." Or just whatever that cancer is. It's just like, go fuck yourself. I'm gonna go play whatever I want, cockhead. So yeah, that was that. Mediocre. Thankfully, I bought it on sale, so I didn't really pay full price, but I got fucked again, getting shipped a goddamn empty box. That's the third time that's happened to me at this point, where I've bought a physical copy of a game, and they've shipped me a fucking goddamn empty box with a fucking code in it that you could have just sent me the code instead of wasting money, your money and my money, on fucking shipping a goddamn box that is just no use to me at this point because there's no actual physical media in it. God. I actually just pre-ordered Assassin's Creed Odyssey too. Because apparently I got a code for 20% off, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck, I'm pre-ordering it. Because I'm actually looking forward to it. And I would have pre-ordered the fucking, because like, Assassin's Creed was one of the only games that I'd pre-order, because the statues was so fucking dope. And since Origins, they just stopped doing it now. Like, there wasn't one for Origins, and I just couldn't do it. I wanted to buy it. There was actually... Same with Odyssey. There's actually no physical release for Odyssey on PC or Origins, and that pissed me the fuck off, especially for me, like people that live in Australia. They're just like, oh, cool, I buy a game, and now I gotta wait another fucking 5 to 6 days for it to fucking download. So thankfully, with pre-ordering Odyssey on PC, I can actually preload the game, so I can actually download it, like, it's currently the 29th here. It'll unlock on the 5th. So that'll give me time to actually download the game before launch. And so then I can actually play it on launch day. Holy fuck, I haven't done that in so fucking long. What was the last... Because, like, before PC, I used to play games on my PlayStation 3. And I think the last game that I pre-ordered on that was Prototype 2. Fuck, that was a while ago. But yeah, I mean, I love the statue editions, but I just couldn't buy them. And so... I don't know, I wanted to pre-order it, and I wanted to fucking play it, because I'm actually really keen for it. Because I'm actually putting together an Alexos cosplay too. I'm pretty heavy way through the armor pieces and everything. I mean, I'll probably show pictures eventually when I do it. The people in Discord have already seen the helmet that I've done, which is actually quite a lot better than I fucking thought it would. The only problem is that, I don't know, some cunt might be able to help me, or someone might have any good ideas. I've hit a bit of a wall with my helmet. Basically, it's like a gladiator Roman-style helmet. And the helmet has like the big bristle hair thing, mohawk in the middle of it, and I don't know what to make it out of. First thing I did was I bought 2 like longish brooms, but then I quickly found out that actually cutting the bristles off it was 1, a cunt, and then 2, they weren't actually long enough for the style helmet that I wanted. And then also 3, gluing them in is also a bastard, which I haven't even attempted to, because I didn't want to ruin it. And I've just been trying to fucking nut out what I could actually use, because feathers isn't right either. I think, actually. Well, looking at all the reference, and especially the stuff in the game, it's definitely not feathers. And I actually, like, did a bit of a Google, because I'm like, why the fuck do gladiators have, like, that mohawk and a bunch of other, like, Romans? It turns out they have it, so when they're in battle, if people go for a headshot with a sword, it actually softens the blow. Which makes sense. Well, it softens the blow, or, like, slows down the sword as it goes through it. Which makes total sense now that you fucking look at it. But, yeah, I don't know what to fucking make it out of. I did have maybe an idea. I haven't tried it yet. But, I want to try and cut up a wig of the right colours. And then glue clumps of the hair to pipe cleaners. And then glue the pipe cleaners into the top of the helmet. So then it will actually get a structure of being able to stand up. I can also pose it too, because it'd be wire. Not that I particularly would want to. But yeah, I haven't really tried that yet. Mostly because, like, the bristles, they're also, like, a dark red and a red. And, you know, I don't know if I could find a dark red and a red wig, particularly for, like, a decent price. Because I don't want to buy, like, a cosplay wig and fucking cut it up. I mean, unless it's, like, dirt cheap, sure, then I'll do that. But otherwise, like, if I'm going down, like, you'll go to, like, a bargain central, or a $2 shop, or a dollar store, or whatever the fuck else you have there. Buy, like, one of the party wigs. And, yeah, because, you know, surely, like, they have that down, like, they have, like, a party supply stuff, and it's just, like, cheap garbage shit. And they'll have, like, a red wig, and a blue wig, and a black wig, and shit like that. Like, I don't know if they just have, like, usually they have, like, one color of red. They don't have multiple colors in different shades. So, I don't know, I mean, I'll need to check that out, but, yeah, it's fucking stumped me with that thing. But, I also finally got to see Searching, as well. I think I talked about it last week, how I went to actually go see it, and then I fucked it by seeing Predator by accident, by going into the wrong cinema and then just accepting it. But man, Searching was really fucking good. Like, I'd heard good things about it, but even just, like, knowing the amount of work that had to go into this film, it just fucking, it hurts me to think about. Which, if you don't already know, Searching is basically a film about a father who's trying to find his missing daughter, and the entire film takes place from the perspective of a computer screen, like a screen capture, basically. And so, you know, it zooms into certain things, and, you know, primarily it relies heavy on FaceTiming people and phone calls and stuff like that. It does have a little bit of leeway at times where it goes to, like, CNN News or something like that, and there's, like, a live stream, and there's live streaming the actual event, and stuff like that, so they can actually, you know, get stuff that isn't just someone FaceTiming or whatever the shit. But, yeah, just thinking of the work that had to go into it, even, like, the beginning of the film, too, it has, like, a montage of everyone growing up, which is also a really good fucking montage. As well, one of the best I've seen. It actually made me, you know, sort of care about the fucking characters, which is pretty rare in these sorts of films, I think. But, it obviously, since it's from the perspective of the computer, it boots up with Windows XP, and immediately I'm like, oh, nostalgia, holy shit. But then it has, like, 2008, like, YouTube and that layout, and just thinking of, like, I don't think reconnaissance is the right word. Just, like, the amount of work that would have had to go into recreating it. Because 100% it's all, like, sort of, like, After Effects sort of templates and recreating. Because when you zoom into stuff, you need to have high resolution, like, you know, crispness. Which, you know, if you zoom into anything on a screen capture, it's going to be blurry. which you can't have for a film that's in the fucking cinema screen. So, yeah, just seeing it zoom in and then just having to recreate it perfectly matching all the fonts and getting all the rights. I don't know if you really need the rights for it, but yeah, they mentioned literally every social media platform by name and everything else too. But also a thing that I really enjoyed about Searching is that it felt like one of the first films where it felt like an actual person using the internet. And when I say that, it's like, someone boots up, like, not Internet Explorer, and then goes on not YouTube, and then, zoom and enhances or whatever the fuck. Like, he's using it like a normal person, and the typing like a normal person. Like, he's texting his daughter, like how, and she's getting response like how she would, normally. And even, like, there's a point where he's just, like, chilling, and you hear violin in the background, and then you see him, like, pull over his window, and he's literally got open a fucking tab that on YouTube that just says 4-hour relaxing violin study music, and it's like, it's like me. Except, I mean, I don't do that. I have Spotify, so I don't really need to do that sort of shit. But it's like, that's what people do, really. But I mean, I guess it just comes down to, like, good script writing in the end, which lately, I've not seen films with good scripts. Predator, definitely one of those where it's just like, But I mean, then again, people aren't going particularly to see Predator for the script and, a really good, cohesive and story. Compared to Searching, though, I mean, like... But obviously, when I explain it, it sounds like a gimmick film, like Hardcore Henry. And Hardcore Henry... as well, if you don't know about it, it's a film that's entirely in the first-person perspective. So it's from, like, a GoPro sort of style thing. That's definitely a gimmick film. And it kind of overstays its welcome by quite a bit. It's almost like a 2-hour-long film, and you fucking feel it. Searching is almost just as long, but it does not feel anywhere near as that long. It somehow manages to keep you, like, interested with the story, because it has so many layers to it, and it's just a good script. Like, there's points where it, it leads you just like, maybe she, like, I don't know, I don't really particularly want to spoil it. It leads you over this way. It's like, this happened to her. And then something else comes into the picture, and it's like, oh shit, that actually happened to her. And then another thing comes into the picture, and it's like, oh fuck, maybe that's actually happened. Or then another obvious thing that, they've been hinting out through the entire film comes out, and you feel like a dum-dum. When they finally actually, like, release it? Will they finally acknowledge? No. I don't know words. When they finally, like, spring it. I think spring's sort of the closest word of it. Yeah, when they finally, like, spring it on you, it's like, oh, fuck, that's not... It's good, yeah. Just trust me. Go do yourself a favor. If it's still in cinemas near you, go see it, go support it. It was also a real good fucking experience on my end, because I went to go see it like a week or two ago. All the bigger films weren't particularly out yet, but now like Johnny English is out here, and a bunch of other like big AAA films. So of course Searching is gonna get sidelined because it's much more of an indie, smaller film, so it's not gonna get priority. So it had one screening a day, and that one screening at my local cinema was at like 9:20 p.m. at night, and I'm like, fucking hell. But it was also in the biggest size cinema as well, so like a 400-500 seater. And I'm like, fuck it, I want to see this film, I want to support it, I want to go see it in a big screen. So I went to a 9:20 p.m. screening of it, and I was the only person in this entire fucking theater. And it was so good, I could spread out my shit, I could hang up in the thing in front of me, no one in there to fucking distract me from anything. I can react in however I want. I can react audibly, I can shock horror, whatever the fuck, I go, what? Or, question myself out loud. It was the best. So, I might even make it a thing now to go see films late at night. There was actually a surprising amount of people there, I thought, that were at the cinema on a Tuesday night at like 9 p.m. A lot of couples, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're going in there for a quick fuck or whatever the fuck else. I don't know. But, yeah, it was just a real good fucking experience. Just a good film. yeah, I just, it just goes to show that even with like a gimmick like that, if you have a good script that can actually keep people engaged, it trumps over anything else in any sort of action, and any other sort of like choreography and stuff like that. What else do I have on my list? Oh yeah. So I've been having a bit more of a philosophy about my channel. Before, especially when I was starting to like blow up a little bit more, I would read every single fucking comment on my channel. And to do that, basically there's an app called YouTube Studio, or you can even go through the comments tab in your Creator Studio, and it just shows you all of your most recent comments, and then shows you the video that it's on too. And you can reply and like and fucking favorite from there, so that's what I usually do. And that's what I did for ages. I'd always try and like engage with people, but then like, it's always the fucking case where you read 10 really nice comments, and then there's the one fuckhead, and then that's all you remember. And I don't know, I've definitely been listening to like people like H3H3 and Ethan and Hila, whether they've taken it on to like not read every comment, and if they do, they get other people to filter it to them and pick and choose stuff to them. Because yeah, it's not good for you to just read thousands of people's literal thoughts at the same time. But I still do read the comments. I will say that, but I've definitely now taken a step back, and said to myself that I'm not going to read every comment. Every now and then I might have a scroll through, and then it happens again, and you're like, oh fuck's sake. And it's always like, the older videos or whatever the fuck, you mispronounced this one word. You have a whole channel where you read stuff, and then, bleh, you missed this line, bleh. And they just have a cry and a whinge, and they're like, fuck you, you got one job. And it's just like, eat shit, cunt. I had a fucking comment the other day that I didn't even get mad at, I just laughed at. Fucking cunt said, oh, I don't fucking get this. Why do people listen to this stuff? This guy takes like a minute to read it, when I can read it in like 10 seconds. What the fuck is this? What a fuckhead. And just fucking went on about it. And I'm like, what? Well, you're obviously not my target audience then. Like, dude. I just replied and just said to him, I don't know, ask the 60,000 plus people that hit subscribe for some reason. Like, it's just a big fuck you to him, because, like, what do you expect, fuckhead? And then, you get people to reply, they're like, I listen to it because, well, usually the main three I get are, 1, I listen to it while I study, 2, I listen to it while I go to bed, or 3, just like I like to listen to it while I relax, or sometimes I've gotten people that are like, well, I listen to it while I'm at the gym, or something like that. And, it varies, and I'm, I don't mind. I actually had someone that's just like, hey, can you update one of your playlists so I can just, like, backlog and listen to all of your videos? And I'm like, fucking hell, okay, dude. So I went and did that pretty fucking quick. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I guess if you're that keen to really communicate with me, either just join my Discord, because I'm usually pretty fucking active in my Discord, or message me on Discord, or add me as a friend, or whatever the fuck. Just don't get offended if I don't reply immediately, because sometimes I just don't. I just don't give a fuck. Or just don't meme me, because I just won't reply then. Or, whatever the fuck, threaten me. I had a dude go, Mr. GreenCast, you're fucking done! And I'm like, what? And they just didn't reply. And I'm like, alright then, dude, fucking whatever. And, yeah, or just do it through Twitter, I guess, as well. Yeah. Oh, I've also started to name and shame people a lot more for just being fucking retards in my comments. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just, like, screenshot it and then just upload it to either Twitter or my Discord. I've got a whole channel on my Discord now that I'm just uploading comments that are just fuckheads and other retards just commenting just garbage. Like, I'll bring a couple up, just to, like, give you a bit of a taste of what some of them are. Let's see. Name and shame. We'll bring it up over here. Oh. So this was on the fucking Pokemon video. I just thought it, like, hilarious, because it was just so fucking out of context. It was the Pokemon Girlfriend video that went up this week. It said, "This has nothing to do with the story, but there's a version of the Pokemon playing cards where you can only use Pokemon you've jerked off to before." And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you watch this fucking video about a dude that gets, you know, uber sad when his fucking GF that really plays Pokemon with fucking died. And he's like, "I've jerked off to Pokemon before." Oh, man. Oh, and here's another fucking just edgy retard. This is on the job interview, whatever the fuck I called it. It said, "I remember my last interview. My employer asked me, 'Where do you see yourself in 5 years?' I responded, 'Sitting in your chair with your corpse as my rug. Also, fucking your wife on said rug.' He was so impressed with my boldness that I got the job immediately. Confidence is the most important part of any job interview." And it's like, that didn't happen. Fuckhead. Don't try and convince anyone. No one's fucking believing you. And I guarantee you it's some 12-year-old that's just like, "I'm cool because I'm edgy." It's just like, yeah, it's just not even fucking worth a reply at this point. Oh, and then I had a fucking dude that messaged me on Discord that's like, "Hey fuckhead, can you take away the notifications? I get notifications for every fucking comment." And I'm like, what? That I can't change that. You have to mute it on your end. And he's like, "What?" Oh wait, here, hang on, I'll just bring it up. Oh yeah, he said, "Turn off the notifications, you fucking Jew." And I'm like, what? And then he said, "I get fucking notified of every single fucking message on your Discord server." And then he said, "Oh, I can't turn it off because I'm not an admin." And so I sent him a screenshot with the fucking button that circled it. It was just to mute it. And I'm like, you don't have to be admin to mute a channel, dum-dum. And then he just said, "I'm a mobile user." And I'm like, stop fucking messaging me, dum-dum. Just go Google it. Stop messaging me. And then he just said again, but notified everyone of every single fucking message." And I'm just like, Google it, you lazy fuck. And he's just like, "Fuck you." And I'm like, what do you expect? Don't message me shit like that, dum-dum. Or, yeah, sometimes I just get questions like that. And it's just like, you'd get a quicker response if you just Googled it. Don't ask me that shit. And it's like, if you are going to message me, or whatever the fuck, don't just hit me up with a hello, because I'm not going to respond with that. If you're going to message me with intent. Ask me a fucking question or whatever the shit else, or whatever the fuck you want to do for life advice. Occasionally some people do that for some reason. People hit me up asking for, like, advice, whatever the fuck. If you want to, and if you think that I give good advice, or feel like I would, feel free to, I guess. But otherwise, like, yeah, I'm not gonna reply if you just hit me up with a hello. It's like, I'm not a fucking chick on Tinder. I'm not gonna reply. I also, last night, I went to go see another Australian comedian, by the name of Josh Wade, who, he plays this character called Cunny, which is basically the personification of, like, an Australian, like, tradie bogan, which, if you don't know what a tradie is, it's basically, typically, like, a person that has, works on, like, a work site as, like, a particular, a trade, whether it be, like, carpentry or, you know, a chippy or bricky or whatever the fuck, or something like that. It's just, like, slang that we use here. And, yeah, it's basically an hour stand-up comedy, and, you know, I, met him beforehand. I got a VIP ticket to it, and, he chucked me a Make Australia Great Again hat, as well as a signed poster, and I'm like, yeah, cheers, and I had to talk to him about it as well, and I got him to sign my hat, my Mr. GreenCast hat. And my goal with that hat is to get as many other Australian comedians to sign it as I can, so it's like the ultimate Australian hat of, like, legends and other comedy. Because I just have a lot of respect for stand-up comedians One, because, like, you gotta have fucking, like this cup before was talking about, you gotta have confidence. You gotta have fucking confidence to get up in front of, like, a crowd of people and, you know, get a joke or, you know, perform an hour of comedy and have people laughing every, like, 10 to 15 seconds, or else you considered, like, you know, a bit of a flunk. And then also, you know, having the wit if some drunk cunt's fucking heckling to be able to, like, whip them back into place and whatever the fuck. And just, you know, also being able to craft those fucking jokes too. Because to be able to do that, like, you're not gonna craft an hour of comedy and be able to go on tour just by, you know, with a couple of mates around and, you know, telling jokes. Because you have to work on it, you have to refine it, you have to be able to know where the joke's working. Is this part working? Oh, if I change the wording here or the phrase, or you set up the punchline a bit better. You just have to do that with, like, spots. And, you know, just working around other clubs, doing, like, spots and working on jokes. With, like, you know, different crowds of people. So you have to be able to, you know, do that and be comfortable saying it to complete fucking strangers, man. And it's just, like, you know, I value that sort of stuff, that someone that's, you know, puts the hard work and dedication and the confidence and everything into that. And so I went and saw his show. I really fucking enjoyed it. The only thing negative I have to say about it was I didn't particularly like the venue choice. It was in the city, Viola, so it took me an hour to get down there, like it always does. But that's not. I'm used to that at that point. I load up a podcast of another caliber, and that does me fine. But the place they were in, it was like there's a stage at the front, and then also directly behind it, there was the bar. And people were constantly going to the fucking bar the entire time. And this one fucking couple just got fucking wasted. And they just wouldn't stop talking to this other couple that was beside him. And so Josh a couple of times did, like, the fucking thing of, like, you know, shutting them down and telling them to shut the fuck up in character, and, you know, giving them some quick whips and, you know, naming them and shaming them. But he did it, like, 3 or 4 times until it was, like, towards the end of the show. He made them turn the house lights on, put the spotlight on the people that wouldn't shut the fuck up, and then made them stand up like they were fucking in trouble in high school and stand in front of the fucking class. And then he just, like, roasted them for 5 minutes of just being like, I told you to be fucking quiet, I was trying to be nice at the start, but people are fucking being here, you know, paying. They're paying to be here for an hour just so they could escape everything else, and you're fucking ruining it by goddamn talking. And I've told you to shut the fuck up. And he just, like, roasted them for, like, a solid 5 minutes straight. And then once he finished up, he's like, alright, you cool now? You clear? You're not too fucking offended? You didn't take that too personally? And the dude's just, like, getting so fucking cocky. And there was a part where I thought that, he was also explaining, too, about, like, you know, how he's like, you know, it's not easy for him. He's been depressed and whatever the fuck else. You know, all this hard work and everything, and they're fucking ruining it for everybody else by just talking and just not shutting up. And there was a point where I thought he was going to get him on stage to compare it, and I just watched him fucking whisper into his girlfriend's ear, just like, oh, if he asks me to go, I'll totally do it. I'm gonna do it. And it's just like that cocky fuckhead type, that, you know, one of those types of drunks, and the girlfriend's obviously really fucking embarrassed. And they finally, after the roast, they sit down, and then about 10 seconds later, I watch the chick fucking get up and then literally walk out crying, and then everyone cheers and claps, and I'm like, oh, fucking bless. And of course the boyfriend's like, oh, fuck, and then he gets up and, like, follows her too, and then everyone cheers again, and then everyone cheers for a bit longer, because they've all fucking left, and everyone doesn't have to deal with them now. But, the other good thing about the VIP ticket, too, that was quite nice, was that, because I was there beforehand, I got to choose any, seat I wanted. And, I mean, I'm usually there before, like, you know, I don't understand people that don't turn up early to these sorts of things, because, like, I think he actually oversold the event a bit, because there was quite a few people standing up and that didn't have chairs. But I could have sat down right at the front row if I wanted to. But there was, like, this cool, like, I don't really know how to describe it. It was like there's like different levels, and then up to the side there was like this couch area that had like its own little table for drinks or whatever the fuck else. And so I was just like sitting in there, and until some people like sat in front of me, and I'm like, fuck, whatever. So I had an entire booth to myself. I could put my feet up. It was the fucking best. I didn't give a fuck. There were some people in front of me. They'd come and go. I could still see them. And then the people left. Actually, the couple that were talking were the people in front of me. And I was even more happy when they left, because then I could see the stage better. But yeah, overall, he's just a real fucking nice guy. I'll definitely be back next year. I don't know if he'll actually be doing a tour next year. But if he does, I'll definitely be there again. And he recommended me some other Australian comedians that I should check out, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to quest to fill this up as much as I can. He's like, oh, go check out these people. But yeah, it's actually quite funny too, because I wore my Death Threats Don't Scare Me t-shirt, which is Lewis Spears' comedy special. If you want, you can go check it out. It's lewisspears.com/watch, I think. Yeah, one of like the bouncer tour guys come up and he's like, oh hey, Lewis Spears fan. And I'm like, yeah bro. And turns out he's the fucking tour manager that he's actually working with both Lewis Spears and also Luke Kitchell, who are both people, couple of my favorite Australian comedians. And yeah, so I'm gonna chat to them about like, tour dates next year. And also just like about like Australian comedy. And yeah, I mean like, I don't know what the state of like stand-up comedy is in America, but it seems to be pretty fucking well and live here, and there's quite a good number of up-and-coming stand-up comedians here. Like, I don't really know how... Well, I mean, unless you're really looking for it, I guess you're not really going to find it. Because definitely people that I wanted to see, but I follow on social media, but they don't post that often that I just fucking missed their announcement. Like, especially with Josh, like, all he did for this tour was upload a single video, pretty much, announcing the tour, and that was it. Whereas, like, Lewis Spears, he's pretty fucking... Like, I'll give the man fucking props. He works hard on his fucking online activity and whatnot. Like, he pumps... He has his own podcast that he puts out once a week. He works on the radio. I don't fucking know at this point. He was on, like, the entire week this week. Produces, like, 1 to 2 other videos a week. So he's pretty fucking... As well as all of his Instagram stories and other social media platforms that he just shit posts on. So he's pretty consistent. And he's always, like, plugging his show when he can. I mean, like, I think it's still going at this point. If you want, if in Australia, you should definitely check him out. It's his 4th tour at this point. Independent Variable. If you just Google Lewis Spears or go on lewisspears.com/gigs, you can check it out. Yeah, I think he's on like he's probably like a third of the way through the leg of his tour at this point. So if you're probably in some of the major cities, you probably make it. So recommend it to go there if you can. I'll be at the Brisbane show. If anyone's fucking recognize me, that'll be hilarious. But yeah, I think that's about all that I wanted to talk about this week. So I suppose we'll get into the most autistic part of this podcast, and that is, of course, where I answer questions from a bunch of you retards. Sorry. I really shouldn't be calling my audience retards. So, if you want to send any questions, queries, life advice, or any of that other sort of stuff, you can do that by either emailing me at mrgreentext.com, that's Mr. Greentext with an S on the end of that, and input fancy graphic. And yes, I know, shout out to you, Marcus. I'm not fixing it. I know there's no dot in the .com, but I don't give a fuck enough to change it, and I am probably going to rush editing this. So, fucking deal with it. But if you don't want to do that, because some people are dum-dums, and you email me, and you have your real fucking name attached, you can comment on my community tab post, which will inevitably go up sometime next week, And fucking this week went pretty well. I've got quite a lot of comments on this chain. So let's fucking have a look through it, shall we? Somebody says, what are your favorite hobbies? At the moment, definitely like prop making. There's a video on my channel about some of my props and whatever the fuck else. I think it's called The Other Thing That I Do. So you can go check that out if you want. I am getting a little bit into Warhammer 40k, the tabletop series. My friend's been trying to get me into it for ages. I bought my first pack not too long ago, and I'm still assembling them. Might even do that tomorrow, now that I think of it. Assemble a couple of them a bit more. But yeah, it's not until recently that I've been getting more into like video games too. And I'm finding that like video games is a good way to like unwind from everything else too, and just switch off your brain and just play a thing. But yeah, I'd say those are like my primary hobbies, is like prop making, which I mean I also make money off at the same time, and also just gaming. I've been getting a lot more into getting back into games now that I actually have a computer that can actually shit on everything. Dude, it's so good having a fucking 1080. It's the first time I've been able, like, I don't know, ever since I've had a laptop, I've been saying, like, oh, PC gaming must race, like every other retard. But it's not until, like, halfway through this year that I've actually had a PC that I can actually run every game that I own on ultra spec with, like, hundreds of frames a second. It's fucking glorious, dude. Like, it's so good, because I literally started from the bottom, now I'm here. Dab. Infomaniac says, what do you think of Bella Bartok? So, I do not know who that is. So, off we go to Google. Let's see. Bella Bartok. Bella Bartok was a Hungarian composer, pianist, and ethnomusicologist. He was considered one of the most important composers of the 20th century. Okay. I'm not going to listen to any of the stuff immediately on the podcast, but what do I think of him? I don't know. Seems like an alright guy, apparently, from what I just read from the Wikipedia summary. Graham McCallum says, why can't you use real words? So, with no context, I'm going to assume he means some of my Australian slang. And it's not that I can't use real words, it's that I can't be fucked saying full words. So if you don't already know, Australian slang is basically, we just shorten all of our stuff. Like, here, if you say, you want to go to the petrol station, wow. If you want to go to the petrol station, I don't know how I fucked that up. Dude, I'm tired. That's why. If you want to go to the petrol station, it's like, oh, you want to go to the servo. Yeah, it's basically just shorten everything and just usually put an O on that, and it's just like, yeah. Cheesy Goodness says, what does kangaroo taste like? So I've had kangaroo maybe once or twice in my life. I really want to retaste it again. But from what I remember, kangaroo tastes a lot like beef to me. Because I remember my parents actually lied to me and said that it was beef. And it wasn't until I finished that they're like, oh, by the way, you ate kangaroo. And I'm like, what? But I don't know. Kangaroo is definitely... we definitely eat it here, which is hilarious because Australia is the only country in the world that eats its native species, which I think is pretty funny. And also, yeah, well, we eat both of the animals on our coat of arms as well. But yeah, it's also not usually something that you could buy at a regular supermarket like a Coles or a Woolworths or something like that. You'd probably have to go to like a more of a specialty butcher to buy kangaroo, and it's probably a bit more expensive because, I mean, obviously. But yeah, from what I remember, it tastes a lot like beef. I do kind of want to taste it again. Maya says, feelings about drunks. I mean, I don't really give a fuck. I have never used drugs and probably never will, particularly. I don't know. I might smoke weed one day if, you know, I see the situation's right. I've been around a lot of people that smoke weed before. I've been offered a hit and whatever the fuck, and a lot of times, but it's just like, it's just not a feeling that I need. I'm not depressed. I don't hate my life. I'm not in pain. There's no need for it. It's not a feeling that I really need to feel or particularly want to feel. Obviously, I mean, the other drugs have a lot more fucking effects. But, I mean, I don't really care, particularly. You know, if you're doing probably coke, maybe, or fucking heroin, or one of the other actual fucked drugs that isn't weed. But, I mean, yeah. You do you, I guess. There's probably better things you could be spending your money on, in my opinion. But, yeah. I don't really particularly have so much of an opinion on it. Caffeine Father says, what's your favorite category of green text? Town stories, field stories, shit like that. Definitely my favorite category of green text, I think, are the roleplay ones. So shit like The Legend of Captain Drake. Stuff like that are definitely my favorite, because those that can actually be a lot more creatively fulfilling, and, you know, they're just a lot more fun to edit. Because, you know, I can actually get other people to do some guest voices, and I can actually do some sound mixing in it that isn't just a typical Tarn tale or whatever the fuck. But yeah, definitely roleplay ones. I'm always on the lookout for those sorts of ones. It's definitely more of a rare category on to green text, which is why there's like 2 on my channel, because I haven't found any other like good ones that are worth it particularly. But yeah, definitely roleplay sort of ones like that. M. Ake says, does your Tarn voice have an inspiration on a person you based it off? Not really, I think. It was just a retarded voice that I just did one day. And when I just started doing green text, it's just like the voice that naturally I just like, oh, you fucking retard? What are you doing? You just basically go for like a deep and high pitched voice at the same time, and I think it's the best way to describe it. And then you just combine the two, and then depending on how the shape you make with your mouth depends on the type of Tarn voice that you can do. Yeah, and they're also just really fun to do at the same time, but I don't particularly think it has like an inspiration. I mean, I guess Down syndrome kids, I guess. I can't really like picture any others like inspiration, I guess. That's just a funny voice that you do sometimes. It sounds like it's got Down syndrome, and then it just fits perfectly for tales. Or it just, you know, you might do a voice like I was doing before. You just do a default voice for people that you think are retarded, and then that's the voice you just default to. Greed says, if you could do one thing in life, what would it be? And I mean anything from getting coke on the beach to world domination. I'd really fucking love to go to either Mars or the moon, I think. Probably the first thing that comes to mind. Just like, you know, puts everything in perspective, I guess. Just how fucking insignificant this time frame is to the... I mean, I sound like a fucking edgy Rick and Morty, Rick Sanchez. Well, the world means nothing, Morty. We're just like a speck of dust in the timeline, and everything you do, nothing matters. But yeah, I'd love to go to the moon, or Mars particularly, just to see, you know. I don't really know. I don't know why. I'd love to go to the moon or Mars. We could probably do it. It'd probably happen in my lifetime, so... I don't know. Fucking world domination. I don't know. I assume it has to be in the realm of... possibility? Because if you could do one thing in life, it'd obviously, you know, fucking superpowers or something like that. But, yeah, I think I'm just going to default to either go to the moon or Mars. Probably more so... I don't know which one I prefer. Because the moon, you could do in a day trip. Whereas Mars is like... I don't know, Mars is like 3 months each way, which isn't that fucking bad, particularly when you think about it. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'd just say one of those two, I guess. Mr. Fezzatron says, How would you feel if someone approached you asking if they could make an animations for some of your videos? Fucking go for it, dude. You don't need my permission. Fucking go for it, dude. If you have an animation that you want me to voice, just fucking contact me, dude, and I'll probably fucking do it. For free as well, probably. Yeah. Just fucking go for it. You don't need my permission. People fucking rip it and do parodies, whatever the fuck with it anyway. They're not going to monetize it. Because I don't have the subscribers, so I don't give a fuck. Just do it. Here's another fucking just edgelord that I'm just going to bring attention to, which I'm probably doing the bad thing by actually bringing attention to it, but it's more of just retarded that I'm just going to, you know, name and shame. So, IPF really says, Australians pretty southern, have you fucked your cousin yet? Also, who would win in a person? This is no punctuation whatsoever, so I'm gonna try and do it in all one breath. Australians pretty southern. Have you fucked your cousin yet? Also, who would win in a... This is so fucking badly written. This is the sort of shit that I have to deal with in GreenCast, and this is why it's, you know, there's sometimes fuck-ups that come through. Australia's pretty southern. Have you fucked your cousin yet? Also, who would win? Fully capable person that has carried out a fully political assassination or some Club 9 owner? What? I'm not even gonna fucking... I'm not answering that, because you're a fuckhead. The last question is from Nicotech. What the fuck kind of name is that? And he says, do you think your voice perfectly fits for these readings? For me, it does. I don't know, particularly. I do get people every now and then that message me just being like, hey, whenever I read green text, I read them in your voice. And I'm like, that's weird to me, but I don't know. I mean, I guess so, because my channel's pretty successful, so I guess? But I mean, probably more so the fucking text-to-speech one, I guess, kind of fits it for some things. But then also at the same time, I find that the pacing of it doesn't really work out as well, rather than an actual human doing it, so... I don't know. I guess it does. I guess I can't really have an opinion on that particularly, to be honest. I actually forgot to do this last week, but I remembered it this week, so... if you made it the whole way through this fucking almost an hour-long podcast, be sure by letting me know by including the secret word in your comment somewhere. Make sure to include the word voice somewhere in your comment. Who's some of your favorite voice actors? Can you do any voices? What's some of the most iconic voices you can think of? I don't know. Just be sure to include it somewhere in there so I know you've actually made it. I'll give you a fucking heart, or whatever the fuck, because podcasts I usually scroll through and actually do read all the comments with, because they're particularly more of a civilized sort of comment section rather than just the, the unhinged tardom of normal fucking green text videos. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you later, cunts.